Hello there, my very good friends. On today's wrestling news, WWE really screwed this guy over.
We'll tell you what they had planned for Seth Rollins pre-injury.
We also have an update on Seth Rollins' injury.
And CM Punk takes on the Stalkers and the Weirdos.
Good move. I'm Andy Murray.
I'm Michael Hamflett.
And this is the news. I can't think of a nobler cause than taking on these Stalkers and
Totally
the
agree.
Weirdos.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in a little bit. But let's talk about Ridge Holland. He keeps this story keeps getting worse. This poor guy, man. Gee whiz. Right. So if you haven't been keeping up with this, Ridge Holland was informed by WWE recently that they wouldn't be renewing his contract, so he is soon to depart from the promotion. Right. Under normal circumstances, I have no problem with that because it's like you have fulfilled your obligations to one another. You may part ways now. That's fine. It's a lot different to somebody, say, having like 3 years left and going, off you go, chief. We don't want you anymore, even though you signed for 3 years. However, this situation is complicated because Ridge Holland is currently injured. And releasing someone or letting someone go or letting them know you weren't renewing their contract while they were injured was previously considered beyond the pale in pro wrestling. Even when Vince McMahon, that paragon of virtue, was in charge, he wouldn't generally release people. And he's an evil man, but he wouldn't, wouldn't generally release people while they were hurt. Which pales in comparison to some of that man's alleged crimes. But hey. Now that seems to be like a normal thing. With regards to Ridge Holland, however, it's just what they did. So his deal is expiring on the 14th of November. He's going to be out, by the way, for like 7 months because he shredded himself up while working for TNA. And it came out recently that, you're not paid, obviously. When you get released, you're not paid. They are paying for his surgery, probably because they wouldn't get they would get sued if they didn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, they have this clause where they add time on for injury all the time. They chose not to apply it to this guy when, if you weren't going to use him again, you are richer than God. Just pay the man and then go, okay, you're fit, you're healthy, you can work again. We're not renewing. Still brutal, but not nowhere near as brutal. But it gets worse. Fightful Select have been on with another update on this situation. They noted part of this is that he was injured. Ridge Holland, Luke Menzies, as his real name is, former rugby player, was hurt while working for TNA. He wasn't being paid for those TNA appearances by WWE. On top of that, there are reports from Fightful here that he signed a 1-year extension last year that was for $200,000 less than his previous deal. He signed that, he accepted it, so, it's rough, obviously, but he did sign that. The deal was up in mid-November, and yeah, he wasn't paid extra as part of the TNA exchange on which he got injured. So, he got injured, working a show that he wasn't paid extra for, even though it was beyond his WWE contract, presumably, because it's a TNA show. He was released while injured. They're paying his medical bills, which is a nice thing, but, also probably just doing it so they don't get in legal trouble. Yeah. And now the guy can't work because he's out for 6 to 7 months. It's a brutal situation. It's absolutely horrible for him. I don't know, man. Like, I don't think you should release people while they're injured. There you go. Yeah. Simple.
Yeah, the medical bills element of it, I think you could argue just as much as, thanks WWE, and also bare minimum. Absolute bare minimum in the industry that's in. But expectations and the bar has been set so low for what wrestlers actually get that actually sounds like, there you go, like a hair ruffly thing. No, imagine doing that job for a living and that not being something that's baked into everybody's deal. Yeah. Like wrestling is wrestling, and most performers, I imagine, at some point or other would tell you that they know what they're getting into and yada, yada, yada. It just feels like the worst in a while of a game that shouldn't be so high risk, so high reward. Yeah. I understand that, like, the richer you get up the chain, the more perks you're going to get, the more you've kind of proven yourself, in inverted commas, a star to these various paymasters, the better your deal will be. We talk about wrestlers that have previously been able to get full-time salaries rather than just workers' contracts, and what that entails in terms of your benefits and your safety and your protection and all of that. And wrestling has historically worked where you are supposed to be motivated to run faster on the hamster wheel to look up and get the deal that your superior has got. And then you work and you work and you work and eventually you get that at the end. But the numbers don't lie. And they spell disaster for most wrestlers. Like, not many make it to that sort of golden tier. Not many make it into that sort of rarefied air. Ridge Holland certainly was a long way off the rarefied air.
Yeah.
And it's ironically those ones that need it the most. You hear about wrestlers that move to Florida to live the WWE dream and then have to get the car and have to get the insurance and have to get the apartment, and then all of a sudden there's no money left from their NXT deal. Right? There's no way to live. You're lucky that you've got your gym membership because you're in the PC every day.
You can't do third party stuff.
Yeah, like you can't work anywhere else. It's tighter than it looks, I think, for a lot of those wrestlers. And get well soon to Ridge Holland. The surgery being paid for is one thing, I suppose, especially for a guy that would historically think, hang on, can I just go home and go on the NHS, please?
But there's people out there pretending that WWE are doing him a favour by paying the surgery, and it's like, no, historically this company would see out they'd extend the deal. This is the one situation where you want somebody who's injured, their deal to be extended, right?
Yeah.
Like, so many times they do it to keep talent in the company against their will. This is the one time where it's like, no, like, he was injured while doing work that you asked him to do. Help him out. Like, pay him through this period. You are richer than God. You can afford it. If you're of the belief that WWE are somehow this benevolent organization that's doing him a favor by this, I would encourage you politely to remove your tongue from their boot.
Taylor's all the time as well. They'll be like, you signed the contract, and it's like, yeah, but come on, like, what if you can't afford the legal representation to go find that exact clause that screws him?
It's whack. It's whack. What's not whack is NordVPN, brother.
It's a best.
Hell of a deal right now. Link in the description below on your screen right now, the QR code. It's up over 70% off. Not up to, over 70% off. 3 months for free. Look, there's WWE pay-per-view coming up in a couple of weeks. I'm just saying. Anyway.
There was over 70% chance that Roman Reigns was going to wrestle Seth Rollins at next year's WrestleMania. That's per Dave Meltzer in the Wrestling Observer. He says it was actually 100%. A match that seemed like it was been on the docket for a while. The Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns singles match. The Shield chair, the whole deal. Leader of the Division versus babyface Roman. That was apparently on deck for WrestleMania. Obviously, now we don't know what's on deck for Seth Rollins at WrestleMania because we don't know the extent of his injury. That's per Dave. He also goes on to mention that of all the things that might have changed or now be up in the air per Seth's injury, Punk being number one contender was not one. Punk and Rollins were set to go at it on the next Saturday night's main event for the World Heavyweight title, not on the last Netflix, which Punk had alluded to in his promo on Raw. He said, I beat Seth Rollins on the first Raw on Netflix this year. Maybe I beat him on the last one too. No, that was coming at the next Saturday night's main event. Not now, because obviously the World Heavyweight title, Seth Rollins and all of that sort of stuff is currently up in the air until we know otherwise. So yes, maybe Rollins and Roman will still happen if everybody is fit. The Rollins-Punk final match feels like at some point down the line they will get to it, but it's all up for grabs now. It is.
It's like learning this creative suggests to me that he was going to stay a heel against babyface Roman and babyface Punk, even though Roman has been, leaning ways recently. And that would suggest to me that the Vision were still going to be a thing by WrestleMania, perhaps. And that this whole thing has been expedited, which leads to complications because, he could still theoretically face Roman, but that would require a full-on Roman turn for it to be the best version. Personally, I think the best version of that match is Seth as a heel.
Agreed.
Because he's not returning as a heel after he was beaten up by Bronson Reed.
He wasn't exactly like a nice guy on the way to getting battered either.
Yeah,
it's not like he was a sympathetic figure. Yeah, like it's a weird
jerk.
One.
Yeah, so it's a weird one. So it kind of strengthens my opinion that actually I wouldn't have done this split with a Vision, even regardless of how I just wouldn't have done it. What I would have done if I had the pencil, and I don't have the pencil because I use a computer. But if I was booking the show, even if Seth is going to be out for X, Y, and Z amount of months, I would have kept the unit together. I wouldn't have done that big angle on Raw. I think it was a capital M moment that the follow-up to is going to be worse than. And I think that I would have kept them going. I would have had Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker run the show while he's away with Paul Heyman. Maybe bring someone else into the group, who knows. But I would have had them run the show, and I'd have booked them really strongly, do an immaculate job, so that when Seth does come back, you can use Seeds of Resentment for, hey, you were away, and this was still great while you were not here. And you could build that up and up and up and up, and have that resentment festering and festering and festering, and then blow it up later on, after WrestleMania, perhaps. And you could have had what to me would have been a more satisfying long-term story. But often these days, we're not booking for that. We're booking for instant gratification. We're booking for Reels. We're booking for TikTok. We're booking for our goldfish minds. Most studies out there these days actually suggest that the average human attention span is now worse than a goldfish. So I feel like to some extent, there are some things in wrestling that go on too long these days. But a lot of the time, I just wish these things were a bit more patient. And when you're cooking a nice stew, you don't just put all the ingredients in there, heat them up, and take it off. You let it sit there for a couple of hours so all the flavors get to know each other. Like the spices and the herbs go into the meat. They converge. The meat starts to soften and fall apart, and you have this lovely combined, delicious thing instead of just this pile of uncooked vegetables in a broth.
You're saying they're like Kevin and Malone, this from The Office. They had the stew partly ready, but then they fell over and tipped it all over the floor.
This is it. I bet they didn't even leave. I bet that was chili as well. I bet they didn't even leave the chili overnight when it's even better. Crazy. But yeah, that's how you cook, and that's how you write a good wrestling show.
Sorry, I forgot what we're talking about. My
Food.
I have mixed feelings on this one, right? I agree. Fundamentally, there was obviously a story they were telling from quite early on about Bron Breakker in particular being a guy that was going to get a bit sick of being under Seth Rollins' wing. Yeah. They were kind of using the Batista template, and it's a good template to use, copy that homework. But I will say, because that specific plan looked a little bit samey and a little bit boring, this is one of those occasions where I don't mind that it's happened. For the first time in a while, I felt like they came out of Crown Jewel with a bit of momentum creatively, and the shock and the cliffhanger and the new hook is something I'm actually invested in. The fact that there might not be a men's War Games is even better. One of them on the Survivor Series would do me just fine.
I would do. I mean, zero personally.
Well, yeah, me too. But they've put it on the market, and you've got to do the women's one, I guess. But one of them is absolutely fine. This is one of those occasions where I'm more invested in what happens next for Seth and Braun and Punk and some of these names than I would have been had we known where it was going.
Yeah.
The one element of this I don't get or particularly like is the Seth Rollins not becoming more of a babyface, even on that Raw. He was an arsehole on the Raw where they turned on him. You're not bringing him back as this sympathetic figure. There's no baby faces.
He's better heel.
He is better heel.
Yeah.
And who knows as well, there's still no update yet on the Seth Rollins injury.
Well, there is actually.
Oh, there is?
I've got that in our next story. Shall we just jump into that?
Well, what I was going to say just before we do was that and all of the speculation around it, part of it has been built from them kind of inadvertently wishing this speculation into existence with the worked one earlier this year.
Yeah.
So that's why so many people have buzzed about, well, what is it? Is it a ruse? Is he setting up CM Punk for it? Is he getting speared on purpose to fool him? It's well, you've kind of welcomed that fantasy booking in because of what you did earlier this year.
And the worked injury that fooled everybody. Everybody was fooled when he took off the crutches.
Definitely thought he was hurt.
Injury update on Seth. It's from Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio. Again, he's getting shoulder surgery ASAP. It's legitimate. It's a real injury, and he is going to be out for several months. So there you go. It's a big one. I thought, best case scenario coming out of that, maybe sprained his wrist or something, because it was the headbutt, which was really cool. The headbutt, and he landed on his arm. You can see his arm is down, and when you're a 230-pound man, something like that, and you're coming down the full weight, that's gonna cause some problems. So it's one of those things where look, wrestling is inherently dangerous. Things like this happen. Accidents happen all the time. It's a shame. It sucks that your favorite's going to be out for a while, but it's part of the thing. And look, the spot. Obviously, I wish that Seth didn't get hurt doing it, but the spot did rock. So that is something at least.
Yeah, and we've said this before as well. Rollins is a guy that wrestlers will, and I understand the nature of the industry makes people insecure, but Rollins is a guy that, if anything, you shouldn't have to worry about a spot being taken. He just gets to get excited about the red carpet being rolled out when he returns.
Yeah.
I never want wrestlers to get injured, but if I could pick a cycle in which some stars miss dates and then come back in.
If this chair clicks one more time, I'm going to kick it.
I'm so sorry, guys, as well. I've been trying to stay as still as possible in this rickety chair. Things will change in the most beautiful of ways very soon.
Yeah. I mean, you guys have already spoiled that on the podcast, so
it's going to be.
I was hoping to build that up, but you just ruined it.
It's going to be gorgeous.
Thanks.
Rollins. He's got now this timeline that could theoretically see him make a return around WrestleMania season. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
There's worse spots to be in when you're this made, like Seth Rollins. Worse spots such as CM Punk's spot as he was trying to get through an airport to the hotel.
Could be worse. You could be CM Punk at the airport.
We keep going back to this one, but I think it's worth flagging up every single time. The Punk put something on Instagram. This was immediately shared by a lot of people on Reddit, and I would dare say some of the people on Reddit are the people he's talking about. Because he put on saying, quote, "We unfortunately have to have this conversation again. Do not Turn up at airports. Do not show up at hotels. I cannot believe I have to say this. Do not follow people. You've been repeatedly, politely told no. Respect it. You are not a fan. You are a stalker and will be treated as such. Yeah. Respect the boundaries. Stop harassing people. I mean, I like that there's not even an attempt at any subtlety there. There are sometimes wrestlers that say, like, I'll sign one and then no more. Yeah. Or what was it recently? Tiffany Stratton, like the MFTs kindly walked through the airport with her. Yeah. It's just a sort of like...
There's a famous video on YouTube that everyone gets suggested in their algorithm of Rhea Ripley talking to some paparazzi and Kevin Owens is like, hey, you okay?
Yeah. Like, it shouldn't need to happen that way. Wrestlers shouldn't need to, form their own protection bubbles for each other. And CM Punk shouldn't need to post this. Rhea Ripley shouldn't need to have to, constantly mention this at airports. And they're like, way, man, come on.
It's basic human decency, this. Yeah. Like, honestly, the video that came out of Rhea Ripley getting swarmed by people before Clash in Paris, where they literally pressed her against the car, it's obscene. It's obscene. These people are human. They're on your TV. They're famous. They're humans. Leave them alone. Leave them alone. Your opportunity to interact with people is pay for a meet and greet. Go to a meet and greet. Meet them there. Shout something funny at them at a show. Hey, CM Punk, I don't like your haircut. Whatever. Yeah. Get some interaction going that way. Keep it in kayfabe. Those are your windows. You're not entitled to any more of these people's lives than what they choose to give you on platforms like Twitter and Instagram and stuff like that. We are getting to a point where something bad is going to happen. We have reached a point where people's addresses have been shared online this year, and situations like the Sonya Deville, Mandy Rose home invasion, something bad is going to happen at some point, and this is an escalating behavior. You're not entitled to anything from these folk, particularly if they're out eating a meal with their family, particularly if they're in an airport and they're tired because maybe they've just been on a plane for 6 hours, or they're connecting, or all of this stuff. Just leave people be. If you see CM Punk at an airport, just go CM Punk and then keep on rolling, right? Nice and simple.
Yeah.
Or better yet, just go, that is CM Punk, and don't acknowledge him at all.
That was a cool thing to see. Yeah, William Regal walked past me in an airport once. And it was just oh my God, there's William Regal. And that was enough. Just a weird thing to have happen. Drew McIntyre put this best, I think, over WrestleMania weekend. He put a tweet out, and it's part of Drew, the guy that tweets stuff. But he was saying, you're going to see a lot of wrestlers out and about. Number one, don't be weird. But when it comes to airports and hotels, airports are our commute and hotels are where we live. That's a wrestler's life. Imagine how you would feel if somebody on your commute or somebody in your home was bothering you at that moment. That's a wrestler's life when they're on the road.
Leave them be.
Yeah, think about it like that, man. Not
Leave
cool.
them be.
Shout out to the punker again. Any one of these wrestlers. It's a bizarrely awkward thing to have to do. They shouldn't be raising your head above the parapet to stick up for fellow wrestlers on this specific subject. But a lot of them eat for it afterwards. Oh, come on, man, we pay your wages. However.
Yeah,
be better.
Get with it. That doesn't mean you're entitled to every second of their life. No. It's a crazy situation, and good on CM Punk for being so blunt with it all, because it's the only way this message is really going to get through, isn't it? It would be a sad situation to be in if wrestlers had to be escorted through airports by security and stuff. That's ridiculous.
He mentioned it in the pipe bomb, didn't he? That was 2011.
He did,
the one that has to make the airport, and you come and you get my toy signed because you don't want to get a real job. This is a decades-long issue.
And now it's 2025. Here we are. Thank you for joining us on today's video here. If you enjoyed this one, check out what's on your screen right now. Best for viewer, according to the algorithm. You're going to love it. We'll be back with more news in a bit. Goodbye.